All right, today we are diving deep into James Clear's game-changing book, Atomic Habits. We're going to break down how the tiniest, almost invisible changes can lead to some truly incredible results. And the best part? It's got less to do with willpower and everything to do with having a smarter system. Let's get right into it. So to really wrap our heads around this, let's start with a story. For a whole century, professional cycling in Great Britain was, well, let's just say it was mediocre. I mean, they were so consistently underwhelming that one of the biggest bike manufacturers in Europe actually refused to sell them bikes. They were afraid it would tank their sales if other pros saw the British team using their gear. Ouch. And this number says it all, really. In 110 years, they had won just a single lonely Olympic gold medal. And they'd never, ever won the Tour de France. They were the poster children for being just, okay. But then in 2003, everything changed. A new performance director, a guy named Dave Brailsford, came in with this new philosophy. He called it the aggregation of marginal gains. And the idea behind it was actually pretty simple. If you break down everything that goes into riding a bike, and then you just improve each little thing by 1%, well, when you put it all back together, you're going to see a massive increase in performance. And when I say they focused on everything, I mean they took this to a whole new level. The team started making these tiny 1% improvements in places nobody else was even looking. They tested different massage gels. They hired a surgeon to teach the team the absolute best way to wash their hands to avoid getting sick. They even figured out the perfect pillow for each individual rider to guarantee the best night's sleep. They painted the inside of the team truck white just so they could spot tiny bits of dust that might mess with the bike's mechanics. Incredible, right? So what happened? Well, the results were absolutely staggering. Between 2007 and 2017, British cyclists won 178 world championships, 5 Tour de France titles, and just dominated 2 Olympic Games. It was one of the most successful runs in the entire history of the sport. And that right there, that is the core idea of atomic habits in the real world. You see, small improvements don't just add up, they compound. It's kind of like money earning interest in the bank. The effects of your habits literally multiply over time, and that leads to these wildly different outcomes. Okay, so if that's true, why is it so hard for us to stick with good habits? Well, it's because progress isn't a straight line. We work, and for the longest time, we see nothing. We hit what James Clear calls the plateau of latent potential. It's just like this stonecutter. He's hammering away at this rock 100 times, and it looks like nothing is happening. But then, on that 101st hit, it cracks wide open. And you know what? It wasn't that last hit that did it. It was all the effort that came before. So the real breakthrough doesn't come from just trying harder or having more willpower. It comes from having a better system. And the solution is a really simple 4-step framework for building good habits and, just as importantly, breaking bad ones. So let's dive into these 4 laws that can help you finally break through that plateau. First up, law number 1, make it obvious. You know, so much of what we do is just an automatic response to the cues around us, things we don't even consciously notice. And because our most powerful sense is our vision, making the right cues more visible can totally change our behavior without us even trying. Think about the cycling team painting the truck white. They made the cue for bike maintenance, which was dust, totally impossible to ignore. And check this out. There was a hospital cafeteria that wanted people to make healthier choices. They didn't put up posters or give lectures. Nope. They just added bottles of water to every single drink station in the place. And the results? Soda sales dropped, and water sales shot up by more than 25%. Just like that. So the big takeaway here is that you need to redesign your environment, not just rely on your own motivation. If you want to eat more apples, don't bury them in the bottom of your fridge. Put them in a big bowl right on the counter where you can't miss them. Make the cues for your good habits just screamingly obvious. Okay, so this leads us right into law number 2, make it attractive. Our brains are hardwired to chase rewards. It's actually the anticipation of a reward that gets all that dopamine flowing and really pushes us to act. So it stands to reason if we can make a habit more appealing, we're way more likely to actually do it. Think about how TV networks do this. Years ago, the producer Shonda Rhimes had this killer lineup of shows on Thursday nights. ABC was smart. They didn't just promote the shows. They branded the entire night TGIT. Thank God it's Thursday. They encouraged you to see it as a whole event, a time to kick back, relax, pour some red wine, and eat popcorn. They bundled their shows with things people already love to do. Genius. And you can do the exact same thing with something called temptation bundling. You just pair something you need to do, like, say, going for a run, with something you want to do, like listening to your favorite podcast. Another really powerful way to do this is to join a culture where the thing you want to do is just normal. That's exactly what Dave Brailsford did. He created a culture where obsessing over 1% gains was the cool, attractive thing to do. Which builds perfectly into law number 3, make it easy. Look, we are all fundamentally programmed to follow the path of least resistance. We naturally gravitate towards the thing that takes the least amount of work. And hey, that's not being lazy, it's just being efficient.
There was this famous experiment that illustrates this perfectly. A photography professor splits his class into 2 groups. The quantity group, he tells them they'll be graded purely on the number of photos they turn in. The quality group, on the other hand, will be graded on a single perfect photo. At the end of the semester, you'll never guess. All the best photos came from the quantity group. Why? Because they just got out there, took tons of pictures, experimented, and actually learned by doing, while the other group got stuck just thinking about perfection.
So what does this teach us? It's simple. You have to lower the friction for your good habits, and on the flip side, increase it for your bad ones. Make it so ridiculously easy to start that you just can't say no. By giving every cyclist the perfect pillow, the team made a good habit, getting a perfect night's sleep, completely effortless.
And that brings us to the final law, law number 4, make it satisfying. Now listen up, because this one is the cardinal rule of behavior change. Our brains evolved to want rewards now, not later. A habit absolutely must be enjoyable in the moment for it to stick.
Take this young stockbroker who used this brilliantly simple trick. Every morning, he'd start with 2 jars. One was full of 120 paper clips. And after every single sales call he made, he'd move 1 paper clip over to the empty jar. And he wouldn't stop for the day until that first jar was completely empty. This gave him this powerful visual proof of his progress and a little hit of satisfaction after every single call.
So the goal here is to give yourself some kind of immediate reward. A habit tracker is one of the absolute best ways to do this. Every time you check off a box or put an X on the calendar, you're creating this visual chain of success. You don't want to break the chain. For the British cyclists, their satisfaction was seeing those medals and championships pile up. You could see the leaderboard itself became their habit tracker.
But really, all 4 of these laws, they're all pointing to a much, much deeper truth. The real goal isn't just to work out or to read more books or to meditate. The goal isn't really about having something. It's about becoming someone. And this is maybe the most important shift in the entire book. True behavior change is identity change. Every single action you take is like a vote for the type of person you want to become. The goal isn't just to go for a run, it's to become a runner. It's not just to write a page, it's to become a writer. Your habits are literally how you embody your identity. So that brings us to the final and really the most important question of all. As you start to use these laws, don't just ask yourself what you want to achieve. Start by asking a different question. Who do you want to become? Get that right, and all the right habits will follow.